No, no, no. Okay, well, too late now. You know what? My camera is acting up. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. You are going to have to excuse this. What are we going to say? This how this is stream is going tonight. You know, the devil is busy. He is so busy. Somebody is going to get delivered and set free tonight because all day I've been having technical issues with StreamYard, Facebook, YouTube, and it's still happening. So the feed, I'm using my, just explaining to you, I have a camera, a better camera than what I'm using right now. I'm just using the laptop camera. So I'm like, I think I'm kind of, you're looking at me and I'm looking up or something because that's not the camera I'm supposed to be using. So I'm trying to adjust it right now. But, you know, this is bootleg stuff right here because I'm not used to using the laptop camera. That's why I keep looking up because I'm used to the camera up there. But anyway, so it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. The show is still going to go on because the devil will not win because he is defeated. He will not win. I refuse. I refuse. I don't care if I am sideways, like when people take bootleg movies in the movie theater. We are going to go on because we have some great tips and strategies for everyone for the holidays, for winter blues, holiday joy, as well as grief, and all of those things combined come together in this winter holiday season to sometimes bring us down, sometimes bring us joy, and a combination, a myriad actually of emotions, just because that's what the holiday season brings. So Sandra and I are going to talk about all of that tonight while this thing, the stream, and figures out what it's going to do. And because we're live, we just have to go with it. There's really no there's not an edited situation because it's pre-recorded, so we do what we do. But right now I'm going to bring on my wonderful, great, awesome friend / co-host Sandra Lee.
Hey Sharon, good to
Hey,
see
Sandra.
you.
How you doing?
Oh man, here we go again, right?
I
Here we
know, girl. What is happening?
You was on and then you was off, and then you was on and then you was off. I'm like, okay,
Yes.
this is what happens when you go live, but that's all right because we're here now, and so we have
Yes.
a great show ahead. We want to talk about what people are going through right now, those winter holiday blues, and so
Yes.
we got some good information. Dr. Thomas over here is going to be giving out wonderful information, Sharon. So I want to start off and ask you one of the things that I know probably right now that you're having your sessions about, mostly people are coming about this depression. Is that what's happening?
Well, some of it, but some of it's not even so much related to. I chuckle because it's not funny, but not so much related to the winter blues as some of it, but because of the election. You know how we've
Okay.
been talking about that since the election. There's some grief
Hmm.
and some depression and anxiety
Okay.
associated with the election. So I'm still seeing a lot of that. But the election was only what 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's still fresh and it's still new. So now there's an extra added layer with the winter blues, grief and post-election depression
Right.
and anxiety, if you will. So there's a potpourri of things going on,
Okay.
with us in our humanity. When I say us, I just mean people
Right.
in our humanity because we're affected by what goes on in the world. I mean, let's not act like we're not, right?
Right.
And we have to deal with those things. That is our reality. We are human beings living on this earth, and as though many of us are believers, we are still impacted by what happens in the media and what happens in current events and what happens in our home and in our communities, etc.
Okay.
So yeah. But yeah, winter blues is definitely a thing. And just so you know, the name for winter blues is a common layman's term for what in the mental health world is seasonal
Mhm.
affective disorder. And SAD is
Okay.
the acronym, seasonal affective disorder, which is commonly known as the winter blues. And
Mhm.
so and it mimics the symptoms of depression because basically it's like a winter depression, you know
Okay.
and what contributes to that is the lack of light. Places that have limited hours of light like we do here on the East Coast.
Mhm.
Uh, because it gets dark around 4:30 or 5 when we're in the peak of winter. And that light contributes to not all people, but some people. I am one
Okay.
who just don't have that same level of energy
Uh-huh.
during, like we have other times of year, more lethargic, um, not really wanting to do as much, sleep problems, either insomnia,
Mhm.
um, oversleeping, and struggling to just get up and just to do life,
Okay.
and also to like isolating. Life is just harder,
Right.
and I always tell people, I said, I see why bears hibernate in the winter, because if I could do that, I would.
Right, right, right.
So yeah, for some of us, it's a more challenging time. And if anybody in the chat experiences that, let me know. Like I said, I'm not trying to claim anything, but just being honest. I do experience that. I recognized it in my 20s,
Mm.
and I've been kind of keeping track of it ever since. And every year, without
Mhm.
fail. And some years are worse than others.
Mhm.
So I have to be mindful of that, when it comes around. And a lot of times I'm not thinking, I'm just like, oh my gosh, why am I feeling this way? I was like, oh my goodness, it's that time of year.
Right.
Because sometimes, especially with the weather patterns changing, you're not even
Mhm.
realizing that, like this year, that, oh wow, it's getting darker sooner because I'm paying attention to the temperature more so than the light. And it's just like, oh, there you go, that my body automatically reacts to that limited amount of light. I don't have control over that. But there are some controls that we can take. And now, is it more difficult to do that? Absolutely, because basically it's doing the opposite of how you feel,
Right,
right?
right.
And not
Pushing
only,
yourself,
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
like pushing yourself and making
Oh,
yourself get up.
absolutely. That's right.
Mhm.
That's right. And I'm noticing myself looking at the camera up here that's not on. So forgive me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not used to looking at the laptop camera. So you see me looking out in space.
Come on back.
Gotta come back to the light. So
Oh my goodness.
before I go and give any tips, we have several people in the chat already.
Okay.
So, Honey Bunches, I think, was the first to
Mhm.
log in. Hey, Honey
All
Bunches,
right.
hey, God will get the glory, and He is victorious. Just I think she was commenting that regarding this feed and the struggles that we've been having. And yes, He
Mhm.
shall get the glory for all of it.
That's right.
April Cobb is on. April says, "Good evening, everybody. Good evening, April."
Hey,
Kathleen
April.
Jones says, "Hello, everyone. Hello, Kathleen. Good
Hey,
to see you."
Kathleen.
Hey, Amira. Hey, hey, Amira says, "How
All
are you?"
right. Hey,
Belated
man.
birthday, Amira. Hope you
All
enjoyed it.
right. Yes.
Clarissa Maddox says, so true. Hey, Auntie, how are
Okay.
you? Miss you, love you.
Okay.
Aisha says, hello, everyone. Hey, Aisha, good to see
Hey, Isha.
you. And Steph B says, I resonate with that. It's like clockwork. Okay, so we're talking about
Yes.
the SAD, seasonal affective disorder. It is
Mhm.
like clockwork because
Mhm.
again, and I'm glad Steph B said that, because it's clockwork. The clock goes back, right?
Mhm.
Was it fall forwards, fall back, spring forward? The clock goes back, and
Mhm.
then the light is lessened, the amount of light during the day. So
Mhm.
it's literally a clock issue, right? And
Right.
so then it affects us. And like I said, some of us are more sensitive to it than others. Do you have any issues this time of year, Sandra? And it's the winter time period.
Mm, not really. Not really. I mean, when it's cold outside, I want to stay in the bed,
Mhm,
and be up
mhm.
under the covers, but it's not any type of depression or anything that I can put my hand on it at all.
Okay.
Winter, spring, summer, fall, I'm kind of like this all the time.
Mhm.
Just,
You're
not
just
to say
you're
that,
just the Energizer Bunny.
yes, not to say that I don't have stuff that I deal with, but it's not, my stuff is not seasonal. But I
Mhm,
will say this though. Um, Now, there are losses that I have experienced that during a certain time of the year, if it's the same time that that person passed away, I'll notice something is off with me, right?
mhm.
So when my father died, he died in April. Well, maybe we buried him in April. We buried him in May, but he died in April. No, no, no. He was in a coma for anyway. So in April, around about that time, and even though that's one of my daughter's birthday, I could be driving and all of a sudden I have like a weird kind of like feeling of like, oh, what's going on? I don't feel really, what is this? And I always, if I have a certain feeling, I'll in my mind go back, did something happen today? Like, why am I
Mm-hmm.
feeling this? What has happened? Did somebody say something? And then I'll be like, oh, I know what it was. This is when Daddy died. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. But then I don't per se stay stuck in it. I just recognize that my energy level is off a little bit. But once I
Mm-hmm.
recognize, I say, okay, this is what it is, and then I just go on ahead and go forward. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I'm pretty good with the seasons changing. You know,
Okay.
and sometimes what that's called, like when people have deaths of loved ones and they fall into this, it's like an anniversary
Mm-hmm.
depression, right?
Yeah.
They go into depression if the anniversary of the person's death come or the
Mm-hmm.
person's birthday come, and then
Yep.
they'll go into this depression. And so yeah, I experienced that, but it's not on the level of depression that lasts. It's just a really feeling I can't even really put my hand on it, and then it'll pass when I recognize it.
Mm-hmm. Isn't
Mhm.
it just so, the body, the human body and mind is just so amazing because God is
Unbelievable.
amazing and He created it. Like you said, when your dad passed, whatever time of year that was,
Mhm.
how your body automatically remembers that and reacts to that time of year
Yes.
because of that, important person in your life passing.
And
Human body is amazing.
And Sharon, that was like 27 years ago. And
Mm-hmm.
I won't even be thinking of it, but there is a feeling. And like it may
Mm-hmm.
have something to do with like the eternal clock. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But there is I would experience like a feeling that something just ain't right, right? And then I'll try
Mm-hmm.
to figure out what it is. And then when I pinpoint it, like, oh, that's what it is. But it's amazing. It'll just come upon me like that. And a
Yeah.
lot of people experience it, but when they experience it, they stay stuck, right? Especially
Mm-hmm.
depending on how long. I know my father's been dead for 27 years, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean that I don't still grieve, but it's not in that same intensity that it was initially.
Right.
But there are
Right.
people that we deal with that stay
Mm-hmm.
stuck as if the person died yesterday, and they may have been dead for years and years and years and years. And so that
Mm-hmm.
depression also is, it's associated with loss of a loved one, loss of a job, loss of position, loss of a
Mm-hmm.
marriage. All of those things can cause you to be stuck in that depression.
Exactly.
Mhm, mhm.
Honey Bunches made a comment. She said, I feel like that during the fall, not so much the winter. And
Oh, okay.
truth be told, it begins in the fall because winter doesn't start till December 22nd.
Okay.
Right. And so
Okay.
the winter blues has already started. I think they just named it winter because that's most of when it's colder
Mhm,
as well as
mhm.
the darkness,
Right.
so it really has already started.
Mhm.
Because the what time does it get dark now?
Like
6,
5:30, like
36.
5:30 something to 6. Yeah.
Right. So considering it was 9 p.m. in the summertime.
Yes, exactly,
Right. And
exactly,
and then so
exactly.
it's going to get as early as 4:30, right?
Mhm.
Between 4:30,
Yes.
4:45. And
Mhm,
so, and maybe we're more actually into the winter months then, but yeah, it's really already started. So it's
mhm,
really more of a fall, late fall, winter type of
mhm.
thing. So I think, honey bunches, that's probably what you experience, but just not the whole season,
Right.
both seasons. So, and Sandra, you were talking about the depression symptoms related to death, anniversary deaths, or say the loss of a job,
Mhm.
situations like that. Those any type of loss can bring on grief, right?
Yes.
And grief is not a loss of just a person in our lives;
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
it's a loss.
Right.
Loss of a job, loss of a loved one, loss of a marriage, a divorce, a breakup, things of that
Mhm.
nature. And then when you combine that with the holidays, because when
Yes.
typically holidays we're getting together with our
Right.
loved ones to
Mhm.
have
Right.
fun and a joyous time, but when
Mhm.
that loved one is not there anymore, right, and we're used to spending holidays with them, then that brings on sadness around the holiday time for many
Mhm.
people.
Right, right, right.
So you have that combination
Mhm.
of it's all if you already have the winter blues, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
you've lost a loved one and it's holiday time. So therefore there's grief. That's like, man, who wouldn't want to just ball up, in the corner and just
Mhm.
stay
Right.
there, right?
It's a double
Not
whammy.
right, exactly. And not that's what we want to do. But again, we're talking feelings because how we
Mhm.
feel. That's why we
Right.
can't allow our feelings to dictate how we behave. Otherwise, we wouldn't get anything accomplished because our
Right.
feelings
Right.
are so strong and so big, they're so
Mhm.
huge. But they don't steer us in the right direction to
Right.
get things accomplished
Mhm.
oftentimes. So I think we have a comment up there. Amira says, strangely, the summer is rough for me. It could be my aversion to going outside and being hot. Could be. A lot of
Yes.
people don't like the hot weather,
Mhm. Mhm.
and they prefer the winter months. Amira, do you prefer the cold as opposed to the hot, or no, you just don't like it hot? I'd be interested to know that question, because a lot of people, they don't like hot, but they like winter. You know what I mean? They like the cold.
Right.
So it's
Right.
a trade-off.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't like the winter, and not because of the winter blues or whatever. I just, the cold is, you got to put on too many layers, and
Right.
snow, and it's cumbersome,
Right.
right?
Right.
And I like the heat because I like going to the beach. But now, if I'm just going to work outside and going to
Right.
my car, going to the building, I'm not trying to sweat. You
Right.
know what I mean? You
Right.
know. So, but I want it to be summertime. It's light
Yeah.
outside, or spring, early fall. But the
Mhm.
winter time, it's like, oh, I don't want it to be that cold. You
Right.
know,
Right. Right.
for me, it's like spring, early fall, when we truly have a fall. You
Right.
know.
Exactly. A true fall.
Yes. Aisha says, I
The
personally,
Amira.
oh no, I was reading. Oh, I was reading a different one.
Oh, I
Okay.
didn't see Amira. Okay.
That's okay. Aisha says, I personally love the winter. It's such a cozy season to me. Hot cocoa, weighted blankets, my
Oh,
birthday, mittens. That does sound good when you put it like that.
yes.
And staying
Exactly.
indoors. And
That makes
staying
it sound
indoors.
wonderful.
If you stay indoors, it's all good. And you have heat.
Yes.
If you have
Yes.
heat and you stay
Exactly.
indoors,
Exactly.
it's all good. Vera says, I love the fall. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Fall is good. Well, you can wear a light jacket, or maybe not a jacket because it's 70,
Mhm.
70. We kind of skipped over fall this year.
Right.
And that's why, I went to the doctor last week. He said that's why a lot of people were sick. And the reason I was sick, because the weather changed too quickly and our
Mhm.
bodies didn't have time to adjust, and then brings on all that, type of stuff with our throat, etc.
Mhm.
So, but these are signs of the times too, biblically,
Right.
right?
Right.
With our seasons, going, melting, my word, into one another, and not
Mhm.
having the seasons as we used to. Remember when we were younger, how like winter we would get 30 inches of snow, it would be
Yes.
freezing outside, and then summers would be like so hot. I mean, the seasons were extreme.
Yes,
Yes.
extreme.
So
And they seem
climate,
like it was so much longer now. They was so
yes.
long. But
Hmm.
now it's like, well,
Right.
everything is
Climate
much
change
together
is
now.
real. Say that again.
I said everything is just together because
Yeah.
we're in the fall, but it's like 80 degrees a couple of weeks ago. So we
Right.
are just like our bodies don't know what to do. The germs are having a ball,
Mhm.
attacking everybody with
Yes.
sore throats. Everybody I talk
Uh,
to has a sore throat or a runny nose or a funny cough, and the doctor saying, "Oh, it's viral. It's just out there." So
mhm.
we really have to be careful. They said pneumonia is back on the rise again, and so we have to be careful. But that's really weird. Like you said, it is the signs of the times, because our winters are not winters, our summers are not
Mhm.
summers, the fall. It's just like different, as things
Yeah.
go on. But Amira
Mm.
Amira's saying something about the colder.
Yeah, she says the
Yeah.
colder, darker months are when I thrive. The summer and spring make me sad sometimes. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. And it's good to know yourself like that,
Right.
because then you know what to do and what not to do at different times of the year.
Mhm.
Like this time of year, I had to push myself a little more.
Mhm.
I should push myself a lot more, but it's just not happening. I'm
Right.
just being transparent. I want
Right.
to do it, but
Right.
this thing, you know what I mean? It's a thing for me,
Right. Right.
So
Right.
Aisha says, I wonder how and if the winter blues affect people who live in areas like Alaska, where they have long stretches of dark days and it's primarily cold. You know, I don't know, because I know a lot of it has to do with the light, but also too, I guess, if you're, and this is just me, it's not science,
Mhm.
if you're used to it because they primarily live like that, then you know sometimes when you get used to something, then it's no longer an issue. It's just how we live.
Mhm.
you
Well,
know.
Sharon,
Yes.
one time, I had my car broke down, and the guy
Hmm.
that came for the tow truck, um, he was talking. He had actually lived in Alaska.
Okay.
I can't remember how he got there, whatever, but he said he was depressed all the time because it's
Really?
dark and cold. Yes, he said it was
Mm.
so depressing. He said he had to leave because he could not live there. It was just he just stayed depressed the whole time. So I don't know if that was just him and his situation, but he said he stayed depressed the whole time. He didn't grow up there. He moved there for some reason. And he was just talking about it was the most depressing place that you could ever live in the world. Those were his
So,
words.
so he moved there from the inland,
Yeah,
right?
and he moved there for whatever reason. I can't remember because it was some years ago, but he was
Hmm.
saying it was the worst place to live because of the fact that it's light for so many months and it's dark for so many months. You go out and it's dark again, and it's 3 months later, it's still dark. I said, when is the light going to come on? And because he
Right.
just wasn't used to it, like, oh my God, it's
Right.
still dark outside. So, but I don't know if that's everybody, but that was his story.
Yeah. So that way
So
it'd be
that was
interesting to
good.
know if people who were born there and live there, versus someone who moved there, like the person it would be
Right,
it'd be interesting to find out, from what the difference is, if there is
right,
a difference.
right.
I would think there probably is a difference when people who are
Mhm.
born and live there. But again,
Right.
of course, I don't know. If anyone in the chat is from Alaska, please let us know.
Exactly, exactly.
Honey Bunches had a comment. She said, "I love the winter for the blankets and the Christmas music."
Oh,
Blankets and Christmas music. Yes, I mean when it's cold, you can't put on enough blankets,
you
or
cannot.
on the couch with the throws. Yeah, that is good. And I think it was maybe Aisha with the hot cocoa. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's good as long as you don't go outside. As long as I don't
Right,
go
right,
outside.
right, right. So it's so so you hear like some people love it, some people don't love it. I know
Mhm.
you don't love it. So Sharon, so what is the remedy for this overwhelming feeling of depression during this time? What should we be doing?
Well, see, so it's not overwhelming because here's the
Okay,
thing, depression
okay,
has degrees: mild, moderate, severe. So we're not
okay,
talking severe depression because now remember,
okay,
on the continuum, severe depression, you're suicidal or homicidal,
okay,
to
okay,
that. So we're talking, it's like a mild depression,
okay,
right? Because it's also
mhm,
too is a time frame, it's
okay,
seasonal.
okay,
And so the same remedies, if you will,
mhm,
for the regular depression is the same remedies for the seasonal affective disorder, the winter blues. And
mhm,
again, you try to do the opposite of what the symptoms are. So if you tend to isolate, try to
mhm,
go out more, right?
okay,
And if you are, your sleep is affected, then try to stay awake more. So by
mhm,
doing things, right? Maybe participate in a hobby. Exercise is also something that's always good because it helps to, every aspect of our being, our mental health, our emotional well-being, our
mhm,
physical health, etc. So, but of course, when you're low energy, who wants to exercise? Because
right,
they're fighting each other,
right,
right? So, but when you do have that energy, so say when it is a light outside, maybe take some time to revise your schedule from
mhm,
how it was in the summer where you could exercise at 7 o'clock at night. Well, now
right,
it's going to be dark at 7 o'clock at night, and just say your energy is going to be low. So try to exercise during the light hours of the
mhm,
day during the winter months, and therefore you get the exercise in, and that helps our energy, it helps our metabolism, helps our mood, and everything like that.
okay,
So also too, people gain weight in the wintertime because they're in the house more, they're eating more, and um,
exactly.
and when people tend to be depressed, they are, so what I call, not I call, but in the mental health world is emotional eating. So if I'm eating my feelings, so to speak, so I'm
Ooh.
feeling down, I'm feeling low. Let me reach for those potato chips. Let me reach for that cream, and I'm in the house more. So like, there's snacks. Right, right. So the remedy for that is don't buy these things.
Right, right, right,
So,
right,
you can't, they're not as accessible.
right.
And when they are accessible, don't like have them in your bedroom, right? And like we all do, right? On your nightstand, in the drawer, there's a potato chips, there's a this, there's a that,
Mhm.
keep them in the kitchen. So therefore, if you're
Right,
in your bedroom, you have to get up to go get them. And sometimes, we like, I want those chips, but I'm not going downstairs to get them. You know what I
right,
mean? Sometimes it's
right,
like,
right.
but if
Yes.
it's sitting right there in arm's reach,
Woo. Don't look at that thing beside my bed. Ooh, it's full.
Yes, don't look in my room.
I got all of it, I used to have a refrigerator in my room, but I
Uh-huh.
took it out because I was just doing the most. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, well, I have one in mine. I have a refrigerator, I have a microwave, I have a
You
kitchen,
got it all, Sharon.
kitchen.
Terrible, terrible, terrible.
Oh my gosh. So so those are just, some of the typical
Okay.
things. But that's just like with regular depression. But monitor yourself, so when like I know this time of year is coming
Mhm.
along every year for me, and
Right,
how it affects me. So I'm aware, so I try to revise my schedule slightly,
right.
just so I know how my sleeping patterns, how if
Mhm.
I want to go to bed earlier, to get up a little earlier, or vice versa, just depending, on you as an individual,
Mhm.
because everybody's different. But doing things during the lighter parts of the day. Now they also too have this thing. I haven't tried it. I have it in my Amazon cart, but I haven't tried it. They have these, and you can just put in there like therapy lamp.
Okay.
Um, it's a lamp that supposed to mimic sunlight.
I have
Um,
one.
you do? How does it work?
Uh, at 7 o'clock in the morning, when my
Mm-hmm.
alarm goes off, this light will right before 7, maybe like 6 o'clock. It
Mm-hmm.
it looks like the sun is coming up because it's kind of a glow. It's kind of a globe, not a globe, but a half moon kind of, and it'll come on as kind of like a red tint. And I guess, and I only knew that it was coming on because when I got up to go to the bathroom one night, I was like, "What's this light doing on?" And then I figured
Mm-hmm.
out it was, I guess, as the sun is rising, that's what it's mimicking. And at seven
Mm-hmm.
o'clock, this light comes on like the sun is rising, and it's right with the clock will go off, this light will come on, and so of course I hit it off like, no, not yet, but you have that. But I didn't even know that was a part of it until it started coming on, because I have the sound machine
Mm-hmm.
because of my ear and my tinnitus. I have the sound machine, and so
Okay.
that's a part of it, which I didn't even know, but that's a part of it. And
Now let me ask you this, because I know some other people who have that, but theirs is not what I'm talking about. So I'm not sure if is yours is specifically mimicking sun, or is this just something to get you up in the morning? So it's mimicking like the light coming in is mimicking like, okay, it's time to get up. Is it actually, because this what I'm talking about. It's like, it's not like UV, I mean, or
right.
whatever these lights type of lights
Mhm.
are. It
Right.
doesn't have those in it. It has whatever would mimic sun.
I think that this is a
Okay.
mimic of the sun as it transitions, right?
Okay.
Because it's called hatch, the hatch, and so you could set it up for. And I didn't even set it up, and I just had it because of a particular sound that it makes that I like,
Mhm.
that helps me with the tinnitus, and so I didn't realize that was a part of it until, like I
Okay.
said, I was like, "What in the world?" And I was like, "Where's this light coming from?" And it's a soft yellow looking light, right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so I don't know. It may not be what you're talking about exactly, but I
Mhm.
have something similar to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And but since the winter is not your issue, you could just turn the light off and just like leave me alone.
Right. That's what I do.
So right. So you can't tell us how it works because that's not your issue.
Right.
Right. So but that's a good thing that you don't have that issue. So,
Right.
but you guys can try, again, just put in the search bar, therapy sun lamp or whatever, and they're not expensive. I have one in my cart right now. We'll see if I buy it. I don't know.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's one of the things that they say help. Sit in front of it so many hours a day, or if you want to read or whatever, you have it on right there.
Mhm.
And so I say it's supposed to help, but I don't know what the research is on it actually helping. Is it just something to make money off of people who have this issue?
Right,
you
right,
know,
right.
you know
I'm
how
sorry.
that goes, right?
Right, right,
So
right.
let's see. We have some other comments here. Let's see. Did I read Aisha's? I wonder how winter blue. Yes, that's Alaska. Honey
Mhm.
Bunches says that emotional eating has my name all over it.
As well as mine.
Okay, yeah, right. I think it has many of us.
Yeah.
Although
Okay.
for me, actually, when I get stressed and things like that, I don't eat. See, people either undereat or they overeat. I'm an
Right, right.
undereater. Thank
Oh,
God.
okay. Right.
Who needs? I don't need to gain any more weight, right? But I tend to be an under eater. But
Oh,
now
okay.
for the winter months, I'm gonna have to pay attention to it now, just being because I work from home, since the pandemic and all of that. So definitely eating more because I'm home more, right?
Right.
So that doesn't have anything to do with the winter time, but I'll have to pay attention now to see if that's something for
Mhm.
me. But I know typically, like with stress, if I'm stressed, I don't eat. I mean, I really don't eat. I don't want any food or whatever. So yeah.
Mhm.
Aisha says a brief change of scenery can be beneficial. A vacation to somewhere sunny and warm if you're
Mhm.
averse to the cold. Absolutely. That's why a lot
Yeah.
of times you see people will take vacations in the wintertime to, an island or someplace that's sunny and warm,
Mhm.
because it's like, I got to get out of this madness,
Right. Right.
what's going on in, where we live. So that's absolutely right. And again, to Aisha's point, like I said earlier, you might not be able to go on a vacation or anything
Right.
like that, but during the day hours, do something other
Mhm.
than, work. Yes, you got to go to work, and in a minute, all you're going to be able to do is go to work because it gets dark at 4:30 or
Right.
5.
Exactly. Exactly.
Maybe you get up a
Exactly.
little bit earlier, right? And
Mhm.
go to the gym, do whatever your hobby is, or
Mhm.
whatever your thing might be outside. So, but again, this is intentionally changing your schedule for a few months out of the year to take
Mhm.
advantage of the light that would then help with this winter blues. Now, if you do the same thing you've always done, then it's just going to be what it's going to be.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
But we're trying to do something different, recognizing that this is a thing for some of us.
Right.
So, even minor, changes can help. Drinking water is always helpful no matter what.
Right.
Right. So keeping your water intake up, again, being mindful of how much food you're eating. Because again, the more food you eat, the more sluggish you feel. And
Mhm.
that feeds depression.
Right.
Right. So we don't want to feed the depression, right? We want to take away from it. So it's like, okay, so let me be mindful of what I'm eating. Don't keep the snacks in
Mhm.
my room. Don't even
Right.
buy the snacks. Drink much more water. Maybe try to eat healthier during those months because that gives me more energy. So
Okay.
you're fighting
Mhm.
it by doing these things that are more healthy, that are better. And of course, doing healthy things, right?
Right. Who wants that?
Right. Who wants that? Right. But we should. I'm not
Yeah.
poo-pooing on healthy things because healthy things are great. I'm just saying, I'm not there yet.
Right. Right. Oh, we both struggle in that area.
Yes. So Juanita
Okay.
Fowler says, hi
Oh,
everyone.
hey, Netta.
Hey mom.
I think I saw Gwen came up as well.
Did she? Oh, okay. Hey Gwen.
Hey,
Gwen
Gwen.
says, good evening, family. Good evening, Gwen. Netta was in the hospital,
Mhm.
everyone. Netta is my
Yeah.
mom, and
Mhm.
now she is in rehab, getting better. She had an infection, and so it's clearing up, but she just needed more time, and so she's healing. So we want to thank God for her healing
Absolutely.
and her spirits being well and all
Yeah.
of that. And so we continue to keep her in your prayers. Amira says it helps to wake up earlier so that you can have a slow and intentional morning. It is
Oh,
still
wow.
dark and quiet, which can be nice.
Oh, wow.
So, who likes a mirror statement?
Ooh.
Who wants to get up early?
Sharon, I have to be at work tomorrow
Hmm.
at 7:45 because they have me doing something special at my job.
Okay.
And so they need for me to be there early. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm about ready to quit because they talking about 7:45. Listen, no, I'm
Uh,
teasing, but yeah, Amira, some people do like that early, but I gotta tell you,
$7:45.
it's a
That's early,
struggle.
Sandra. That's
It's a
early.
struggle.
Yeah, I'm
But
not a morning
it's a
person.
struggle. But I would say this though. Sometimes, like on a Saturday, since I don't work the weekends anymore, I
Hmm.
have been known to like wake up and just kind of lay in the bed and just like have that feeling of just being so thankful and it is a
Hmm.
nice quiet place to be. It is somewhere
Hmm.
we could pray and just have that intimate moment with God.
Hmm.
So I will say the early morning is good.
Oh
I'm not
yeah.
well, it's not when I got to go to work. But anyway, so I will agree. It's those days where you don't have to get up,
Right.
go to work. But yeah, that quiet time when nothing is happening except for you just kind of like
Hmm.
taking your breather.
Yeah.
I
Now I do my prayer in the morning. I do that, but I
mhm.
don't want to get out of the bed and
Right,
like
right,
move
right,
around and wake up like that. We do our corporate prayer at 5 a.m. I do my prayer either
right,
before or after that, and I
right.
do those things. I maybe even get on my computer and do stuff, but actually get up.
Right. That's not what you mean.
No, not unless
Amir,
there's some reason
Amir,
you have to. But yeah,
Amira said, when I say get up early, I just mean not not snoozing your alarm as much. Is that what you said? I can't.
yes, that's what it says.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay. Uh,
Okay,
so she's not
gotcha.
necessarily talking about getting up and walking all the way around. She's just saying, just kind of hanging out, right?
Hmm.
And I
So
think I
I
used to have, yeah, go
Yeah, I
ahead.
usually because I actually wake up early. I woke up early this morning, and it was nice to have time to myself before the kids woke up. Now, I would imagine as a mom, and especially as a mom with young children, yes, because that's probably like your only alone time, like you say,
Yes,
before they wake
yes.
up. Because once they wake up, it's on and popping all
Done.
the whole day, and then you got to go to work and all of that.
Over.
So yes, Aisha, I can see how a mom with young children would be like morning time. Yes.
Oh my God. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Sharon.
Um, did I read oh yes, I read. I think I've read everybody so far. So
Mhm.
so so Sandra, let's talk a little bit about grief. And we
Okay.
touched on it, earlier, but I just want to make sure, that we give it what's necessary. So again, we talked about holiday time and loved ones who are no longer with us,
Mhm.
or job loss or divorce, breakup, any type of loss.
Mhm.
Um, and of course specifically, especially I should say, when it's loved ones who are no longer with us
Right.
and we're used to spending the holidays with them,
Mhm.
so now there's that empty seat at the table.
Yes.
It's just we're human beings, we're emotional beings. It's just like that. That's the reality. It hurts, it's challenging, it's
Period.
difficult. There's
Mhm.
no getting around that. We're
Mhm.
going to feel it. you know
Yes.
and of course, we wish that there was some magic bullet, if you will, but it's not. We just have to go through it now, just like those tips that we talked about for winter blues, depression. Same thing with that.
Mhm.
Continue to live your life as normal as you did, as much as possible. Excuse me, when that person was alive,
Mhm.
as
Mhm.
far as what you're doing in life.
Right. Right.
Don't allow the depression of it to keep you isolated, to
Mhm.
keep you, not going to work, staying in bed, overeating, things of that nature. And obviously, if things are too rough with the winter blues or with the grief, you could go to counseling, right?
Right.
Or join a support group with other people who have similar
Mhm.
issues, to get some support from people who share that same thing that you have in
Mhm.
common. And then you get strategies from that support group, as well as support
Mhm.
just through talking and whatever else that group might provide. So there are things out there that you can take advantage of,
Right.
if you feel as though you need something extra. But the same thing applies with grief, because depression is one of the stages of grief, right? And
Yes.
that's the one that kind of, tends to be with us, if
Right.
you will, maybe
Mhm.
longer than some of the other stages, because the sadness is real. I mean, we
Right.
love this person, or,
Absolutely.
now we've lost this job,
Mhm.
and that was our income, and so
Right.
now there's some anxiety setting in with, because what's my future going to look like? Am I going to
Mhm.
get another job in time with the bills, because the bills are going to still keep coming in,
Okay.
right? So now, and then I'm feeling depressed about it, so I got the depression and the anxiety with the job loss. All of these things are so real. So
Yeah.
we can't deny it. We need to accept the reality of it, the facts of
Mhm.
it, but we don't want to live there. There are practical things that we can do. If you lost your job, get up every day and look for a job, whether it's on the computer, whether you
Mhm.
go in your car and looking around, and however you do it, you
Mhm.
get up, you get dressed as if you had a job to go to.
Mhm.
These are the type of things that psychologically help
Mhm.
us maintain, our outlook on life,
Mhm.
and to try to beat the depression and
Right.
anxiety that might try to set in because they don't have the job. So now you imagine, every day you're going to work, you get up at a certain time, you get dressed, you go to work. So now I'm not. So now I'm laying in bed more, right?
Mhm.
Now I'm in home more, so I'm eating more, right?
Mhm.
So now I'm
Mhm.
gaining weight. All of these things contribute to a depression,
Right.
right? Because now I'm going to feel more lethargic. And now that might even affect how often I even look for a job, because now I'm like, I don't feel like it, right?
Right.
So now I'm
Mhm.
I'm doing my own self in by my own behaviors,
Mhm.
because I'm giving into the fact that I don't have this job to go to. Yes, you don't have the job to go to. Still get up, get dressed, go out, because you don't have
Right.
to. Even if you look for a job via computer, you don't have to do it in your house. You can get
Right.
up to the library, right? You're
Right.
doing something.
Mhm.
You're stimulating yourself. You're getting out and not isolating yourself and giving into what your feelings are saying to do
Right.
versus what your mind is saying. No, get up, get out.
Right. Right. And
Yeah.
Sharon, I want to comment on like the loss of a loved one. You're going to have times where it is going to be that day where you just want to cry all day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and cry, but you just
That's
can't
right.
stay there. The thing of
Mm-hmm.
it is with grief is you're supposed to experience it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of the loss, it's there and it's so difficult, but don't stay there. Do
Yeah.
your thing and then move on.
Have
And
your
so
moment.
you're gonna have your moment, and you're gonna have different moments at different times and
Yep.
different years, but don't
Mm-hmm.
stay there because that's the problem. The key is that you stay too long, then you fall
Mm-hmm.
what I call into the black hole of depression. Because once you get
Mm-hmm.
into that black hole trying to climb out, usually it's going to take some medication. Of course, prayer is at the top, but some medication and maybe going to a program and seeing a psychiatrist, all of those things to get out that black hole. So you don't want to
Right.
go to the black hole, but it's okay to grieve. You just can't
Mm-hmm.
stay. That's the only thing. And like you were talking about pushing yourself, right? So we lost a consumer at our program a while back, and the clients didn't want to come to the program, and
Mm-hmm.
so of course we had to call them like you got to come. They would want you to be here because you still got to live. You still got to live. You have other people that are here, so you can't
Mm-hmm.
get stuck and just feel like I don't want to go nowhere. I don't want to deal with nobody, even though you feel like that. And that's a real feeling. You have to
Absolutely.
push yourself sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not all the time, but sometimes you have to push. And sometimes on the worst day, this is when you got to push because you don't know how that depression. Because one thing about depression, there's a little, I don't want to say the S word because you know how you said that when you're on social media, how they'll snatch your stuff down. But
Mm-hmm.
what do you call it? Unlife yourself.
Yes. There you
There,
go.
there is a thing where if you stay too long, then there's a thought that can pop in to
Mm-hmm.
unlife yourself, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why you don't want to fall in the black hole, and you're not trying to join nobody, if you know what I
Right.
mean. This is not
Right.
one of the parties you want to go to. Okay.
Right.
You deal with your emotions. Don't fall in the black hole. If you want to cry, cry for a minute and then move forward. Because guess what? Here's the sad part. And this is the thing that I know for a fact. A person die, let's say they work with you. Maybe 3 days after they gone, somebody gonna be in their chair. If that long. People are going to always be replaced, even though they may not be that same person. The person that was there before wasn't as great as this person, but life move on is what I'm saying. Life continues. Even, they don't close all the stores in the malls because your aunt died or, because this person died. Everything still goes on. Life continues. So you have to get back in, even if you got to get back in slowly, but you have to get back in because when you don't, then that's when you fall into that area where it's not good.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
The depression can sneak up on you,
Yes.
the slippery slope. And let's not forget, because we are believers, that the
Mhm.
enemy is busy.
Absolutely.
Right. And one of the first places he always wants to attack us is in our mind, right? And how we think, and
Mhm.
therefore how we feel, and then therefore how we behave. And
Right.
so we don't want to give him any place. That's why doing these other things that counteract the depression,
Mhm.
now we're not giving the enemy any place. Because when
Mhm.
we give in to the depression, now the enemy is like, oh, She's sleeping a lot. She's eating a lot. She's not going to work. Oh, okay. Now I can just slide right in there with, yeah, keep sleeping all the time, and you're not even worthy. That's why you lost that job. And just like
Right.
Sandra said,
Right.
those thoughts, that they're intrusive thoughts when they're just there and you're not thinking that, and it's from them, those are called intrusive thoughts. And
Right.
so then you start thinking, and then you start believing them, and then come those down. Now the depression is moving from mild to moderate to more
Right.
severe when you want to off yourself, if you will,
Yes.
or someone
Yes.
else, right? Because now I've given in to what's being said in my mind. But the devil is a liar. He's
Okay.
the enemy of your soul. Right. And so as believers, we have to know that. And the Bible says that we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. So we can't be ignorant of how he operates. So we have to know that and rebuke those thoughts.
Right.
In Jesus the Christ's name, right? Because that's who defeated him. So anytime those types of things happen, even when you think it yourself, you still rebuke it. Right.
Right. Absolutely.
Because we don't want that to stay with us. And those are our spiritual tools, right? As well as what we were talking about, some of these natural tools. But we have to do that as believers in our prayer time, beef up our prayer time, especially in those, say, times of year when maybe you might be more susceptible. Beef up those prayer, your prayer time, your scripture reading, your Bible study, of course, fellowshipping, with the saints during Sunday worship. And attending Sunday worship, actually out now, we could do it online and out, but we need to get out. Remember, we don't want to isolate and give into the depression. Like sometimes, obviously, we need to, if you're sick or if you're in, on those times, it's not like get out and physically go to church, because then that helps to combat the depression symptoms. Right. And these are the strategies that we can take. These are the tools that we have, the controls that we have. And when we take control of the things that we can control, now it lessens the enemy's entrance for depression and anxiety, and it lessens our own susceptibility to anxiety and depression, because I'm taking control where I can. We don't have total control, but we do have some control. But what happens is sometimes we don't take the controls we have, and so therefore we succumb. Right. What's going on, in our lives. So, so let's take a break. And when I say a break, don't leave. We're just going to take a break for a segment. And then on the other side of this segment, we're going to come back and talk about the joyousness of the holiday and being grateful and thankful. So this segment, you guys, Sandra and I introduced this back in back in, I don't know, September, I think. Yeah, actually it was September, and we started our goals, right? If you all remember that, pull it up. We haven't forgotten. It's just that we've been on a roll with so many things and whatnot, and so we're actually adding it in as a segment with the graphics and everything, so that we'll actually do it. So everybody who was back then watching, I think it's the same people who are watching now, pull out those right now. I mean, literally pull out those God goals that you created and update us in the chat with how you're doing. And Sandra and I are going to update you right now. And let's just have a moment of repentance and prayer right now for Sandra. Forgive us, Lord. Forgive us, Lord.
Oh my God.
We fell off the wagon. But we're not giving up. That's just life. That's just how it is. But my goals are still my goals. I'm not changing them. I was up and down with the water. When I was sick for that 2 weeks, the water did not pass my lips, but neither did really other things. It's just, I don't know. It's just something about when I don't feel well, I don't want to drink or whatever. That's not a good thing. But, so I think last week or something, I started drinking water again. Not my goal, what was it, 2 bottles a day? Something so tiny. Like I drank 1 bottle today. Like that's like, yay!
Yes.
So exercise, not once at all.
Okay. All right. I like your transparency. That's beautiful.
Exactly. I think my goal was twice a week, 2-3 times a week or whatever.
Yeah, you said
not once. Now, my reading plan for the New Testament in 6 months, okay. off track, got back on track this week. Now, I've been reading the Bible, but I just didn't do my reading plan for the New
Okay.
Testament to read that in 6 months, the plan that so I started over, not from the beginning because I had read some, but I started over and I'm back on track now. I started, I think, last Friday or Saturday or something like that. So I
Okay.
think those were the three goals for me. How did you do, Sandra?
Well, I did start strong in the very beginning, where I said I wanted to drink more water than soda. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Recently, I flipped it. I drink more soda than water. Exercise, I haven't really been doing. I did start reading my Bible and reading the Word more. So I kind of have been, messing up here and there. But listen, when it comes to goals, you're going to mess up now and then. Be
Mm-hmm.
mindful and just start back over, right? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that soda thing is on me. It's on my heart. So I got to work that through
Yeah.
and get back on track. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
hey,
wonder if it's associated with this, eating more, drinking more in these colder months. You think so or no?
I just think I just love soda.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I
No
know.
rhyme or reason. I just love it.
All right. So how are you guys in the audience doing with it? Because I see many people who are in the audience now, and don't act like you weren't here because we know
Yes,
we have a faithful bunch. You come on here.
yes, yes, absolutely.
So don't be shy now. Sandra and I have repented.
You told it all.
We've been transparent. How have you guys been doing with your goals? And remember, you can revise the goals to, we want to meet ourselves where we are. We don't want to set ourselves up for failure. So it
Right.
sounds like, I've set myself up for failure, right? But my
Oh,
goals
me
are
too.
so like minimal. Like I don't really think I can reduce them any further. I mean, 2 bottles of water a day. I mean, really? So I don't really want to reduce it because then I'll be doing nothing like I'm doing now.
Oh
So,
my God.
yeah. So
Honey
anybody,
Bunches, Honey
okay.
Bunches to God goals. I would like to repent and ask for forgiveness as well. Okay. Lift your hands and ask for
Yeah.
forgiveness.
So
Right there,
we're,
right?
yes, we have a club starting here.
Yes. Anybody else want to repent?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Amira.
What's
She said,
Amira
I've been
say?
doing well with my fitness goals. Amira ran 2 marathons.
Awesome.
She
Oh,
ran
good
two
for you. Let's give
marathons.
Amira
Yes.
a hand clap. Congratulations
Yes.
for the marathon running.
Yes. She got a ribbon and
Awesome.
everything. So she's starting to get into
Cool.
more marathon running. So, yeah, she's doing
Okay.
well on that. Yeah.
Awesome. Love to hear it. Love to hear
Yes.
it. So
Go, Amira.
anybody else struggling? Anybody else doing well? Anybody have any tips for those of us who are struggling? Please put them in the chat. I guess everybody must be struggling.
Yes.
But you
They
know what?
don't want to
It's
believe.
okay because God knew we were going to be struggling anyway, but he still told us to do it. Remember, God is the one that told Zandra and I to do these God goals and the total wellness and all of that. He knew we were going to struggle, but if we don't even put it down as a goal, then where would we really be, right?
Right.
So
Exactly.
right. So put it in our mind to
Mhm,
okay, this is what I want to accomplish. So even
mhm.
if I don't, it's in my mind because that's where it starts.
Right.
So don't give up on the thought or even having the goal just because you may not have accomplished it yet. I haven't accomplished it at all, but
Right.
it's still going to be my goals. And I believe, and I'm saying this with all honesty, I believe I'm going to get there. It's
You
just
will.
challenging for me right now,
You will.
So, but I definitely believe I'm going to get there.
You
So
will.
don't
We
give up
will.
on yourself because God will never give up on you.
Right. That's right.
What you say, Sandra Lee?
I said, you're right. We will do it. We will.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So Steph B says, my one tip I have is to build off of small wins and remember to give yourself grace. Yes, not
Ooh,
too
love
much grace though. Yeah.
it.
Too much grace to be eating potato chips and ice cream in the bed, right?
Yes.
Great tip, Steph B.
Yes,
Great
thank you,
tip.
Steph. That was beautiful. All
Yes,
right.
we do
Okay.
have to give ourselves grace because beating ourselves up is not what God wants us to do either, right? He wants us
That's
to,
right.
okay, I did it, acknowledge it, but you know what? Every breath that I take is a new moment
Right.
to do something different. Every day that we are blessed with is a new opportunity for a fresh start. And so
That's
that's
right.
what God wants us to do. A fresh start every day. Start now.
That's
And we
right.
are constantly restarting until we get there. So for me, it's starting. Once I'm in
Right.
the zone, I'm off.
Right.
I'm off to the races. It's that starting,
Right.
that's the hump. So we're all in this together. We're helping
Mhm.
one another, right?
Yes.
And so that's why we do it. So because we're a community of
Yes.
helping one another, and no shame and no shade on anybody. This is just our humanity, and we struggle. We're
Right.
honest here about our humanity, so we're never going to shame anyone about anything that it
Right.
is that they do. This is the safe place to have the conversations
Right.
and the
Right.
hard conversations. So that's our
Mhm.
God goals. Thank you guys for updating us with your God goals. So we're going to update one another at least monthly on with the
Yes.
God goals
Once
to
a month.
give us some time in between,
Once a
to
month.
do some things. I hear you,
Right.
son. All
No,
right. So with the remaining minutes, let's just talk about holiday time and holiday joy. Sandra Lee, why don't you talk about holiday joy? And
oh, love holidays. I do. I do. I was raised in a big family, and we always had such big holidays, big Thanksgivings, big Christmases with all my brothers and sisters. And I don't have a sad story to tell. It was always the best time of the year. Just being with everyone. We would go over my grandmother's house for Thanksgiving, and it would be a line wrapped around the house because she had the best food in the world. It seemed like, at least it did to me, and it
mhm.
was just wonderful with my brothers and my sisters. There's 9 of us, right? I'm the baby girl, and so we would be there, and then cousins and everything, and it was wonderful. And Christmas was even better. So the holidays are different. Everybody who was there then is not here now, but we still going to make the best of it. And so I'm excited for the holidays, because we know in January things will do something different. But right now, while we are here, we're gonna do what we do: come together with our family, celebrate, and have a good time. And I'm thankful for that. And
That
so I
sounds
can't wait.
awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, when I was
Yeah.
growing up, holiday time was festive, and
Mhm.
I think typically at my house, my parents, myself, and my brother, and people come over. My mom was a fabulous cook, and I think
Yes.
that Christmas we went from house to house. Thanksgiving was at different houses,
Mhm.
um, and New Year's Eve, New Year's Day was at my grandmother's house, my maternal
Mhm.
grandmother.
Mhm.
But like every Sunday was my house because my mom
Right.
cooked every Sunday, and
Right.
the whole family and friends, so it was like every Sunday was like Thanksgiving at my house. But so yeah, it was a really nice time, and people in my family still have Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners and whatnot. I don't particularly attend because it's a day off. But I was younger before. Now I work and I'm grown, and it's a day off for me, so I choose to sleep. Um,
Sure.
and take, that's my self-care.
Right.
So I don't typically participate. Not that I never have, never will, but for the most part, that's my day off, and that's my self-care day on holidays.
Yeah.
So, but one thing before we go, I want to say about the holidays, because I see this a lot in my counseling sessions. Sometimes outside of the stuff that we were already talking about as far as grief and things like that, the holidays, when people get together with family, families have issues, right? And
Right.
so a lot of people then will complain or talk about, say, in the counseling sessions about, oh, it's holiday time. I got to get together with my family. And, just some of the people there, they don't want to get together with because
Right.
of their personality, their
Mhm.
issues, all that, all of us probably got some of those type of people in our family. Right. And
Right.
so, I often tell people, and of course it depends on the severity, there's degrees to everything. Just because something has been done a certain way doesn't mean it has to always be done a certain way.
Okay.
Right.
Mhm.
The traditional way is whatever your tradition was, how you grew up and your family did things. That doesn't mean you can't make new traditions. You
Right.
know, if getting together with the whole lot of them doesn't work for you, then only do it sometimes, and then just do it with your own created family other
Mhm.
times, right?
Okay.
Or sometimes I know people will go like I think it was somebody said in the chat, one of your daughters, I believe, Sandra, maybe Aisha, travel away during the holiday times,
Right.
Christmas or Thanksgiving. And so that's not traditional. We go
Right.
where, they're leaving the family to go wherever they want to go.
Right.
So, you don't have to do what you've always done. Do what works for you. I'm not saying don't do the traditional thing.
Right.
I'm just saying give yourself permission to do something different if that's what you're going to do and if that's what's going to work for you sometimes. So I just wanted to say that because people think that they have to do something a certain way when you don't. Right. Now, kids might have to do it because they have to obey their parents.
Right.
You can do what you want to do. So don't stay stuck if you don't have to.
Okay.
So
that is good.
Yes.
Yeah, and Sharon, the time is upon us.
Yes, it is. 9:03.
I mean, it really came fast. I didn't know that it was going to be this. I mean, I looked up and it was like after 9 o'clock. So I do want to mention that on next week, it is the holiday on Thursday, Thanksgiving. And so we will not be here on Wednesday in preparation for the holiday. Yes. So I just wanted to mention that just in case you didn't remember to mention it, but I'm sure you'll probably send something out in email. But we won't be here on next Wednesday. We'll be back the following Wednesday.
Yes, 2 weeks from tonight.
And so we just wanted to mention that. And this was such a good topic, Sharon. That's your thing. We deal with mental health all the time, every day, all day. And so it was good to just kind of give out some tips and what have you, just to talk about it and be open and honest,
Yes. Honey Bunches says, thank you for another great show. We'll miss you next week. Yes, we will miss you guys too. We love you. We love our Faith Walk community.
Thank you. Stephanie said, thank you, ladies, for another great conversation.
Yes. And don't forget, I think it's Ayana help me. Nehemiah 8:10. And this is the latter clause. Let the joy of the Lord be your strength in this season. Okay. Yes, I was right. Nehemiah 8:10. Look at me. Go girl. Go girl.
You was reading.
I looked it up today. Yes, let the joy of the Lord be your strength during this holiday season. Our strength is not enough, right? God's we need his strength. His strength is perfected in our weakness. That's what the Bible says.
Absolutely.
So let his strength take you through this holiday season, whether it's winter blues, whether it's grief, holiday joy. Let his strength take you through this season, and all is well. God bless you, everyone. Leticia says this was so good, ladies. Love the transparency. Thank you, Leticia.
Yes, thank you so much, so much. We love you so much. And good night, guys.
Good night. See you in 2 weeks. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. I forgot about that. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much. Yes. But if you do, come talk to us about it.
Right. And drink a lot, right? Non-alcoholic. All right, you guys. See you in 2 weeks. We love you. Shalom.